Thank you, Madam President. So I think Mahesh did a lot of explanation that I also plan to do. Now, capsular insufficiency is a common, not so uncommon thing that can hinder our results. So there's a inadequacy is not that much. Of course, we can do a gentle phaco, slow phaco, and then go in and put a CTR if possible. And this will keep the stability of the remaining capsule intact, and then you can put a preferably 3-piece lens and you can get away with it. So, but it's not always the case. It's not always the case. Sometimes you end up with, or you encounter rather, bigger capsular deficiencies where you have to go and do operate in a different way. So, Vanakkam and Namaste, India. Thank you for inviting us for this meeting. So, our talk would be on aphakia, how to get aphakia when there's no capsular support. So, as Mahesh also said, there are so many ways of doing this. So, in a 3-piece IOL, of course, you can have the Gabo, Agarwal, and Yamani techniques, and sometimes you don't have that option. The patient can't afford, and then you have to do with what you have. So, in such situations, you may have to suture the existing IOL into the sclera in the conventional way. So, I usually use both techniques. Now, if you take the classical sterile fixation, we make a flap on both sides, then pass the needle and put a suture, ten-knot rolling, and suture the haptics. So, Dr. Hoffman presented a case in ACRS where you can do transconjunctival limb incision and go backwards, go outwards and make 2 pockets without entering into the sclera via conjunctiva. So our motive is to go for less suture, less opening, and less AC turbulence. So with that in mind, this is something that I sometimes do. So 180 degrees away or apart, we make 2 sterile pockets through the limbus. I have sped up the video for brevity. Then we pass straight ten-knot rolling needle and retrieve it from the other side using a 27 or 26 gauge needle and maintain the parallel direction. We again reduce and take it from the other side again. So now you have now 2 lines of sutures inside, which strengthens the procedure or the lens. Then you divide it, take 1 haptic out and suture. So this is a single piece IOL, but usually 1 or 2 sutures would be enough. It will not slip usually. Then you take it inside or put it inside and take the other haptic out gently. So here I usually don't use many AC method. I try to do the whole surgery with cohesive viscoelastics. Then you rotate the IOL into place, then retrieve the sutures from the pockets and suture. Gentle suturing is enough. You don't have to do tight suturing. And here we might have to stitch the pockets with 1 single suture on either side and maybe a suture at the entry point over where we took the haptic out. But you can even leave it without suturing if there's no much of a astigmatism that you can demonstrate. So, but as Mahesh also showed that the trend is to go more and more sutureless. So the idea is that you put a 3-piece in, delivering 1 haptic into the entry chamber or to the iris, and using a MST forceps or a catch forceps, micro forceps, you secure it. Then that's the leading haptic. Using another needle, similar. Usually, what they recommend is a 30 gauge TSK needle, wide bore, which we don't have in Sri Lanka. And then thread that also, and then simultaneously take them out and you get a very quick surgery done with least amount of manipulation. So then you make the flange and then rotate back the haptic so that they are not exposed to the outside. So the rationale here is that you go to from limbus radially out 2 millimeters away and then gradually enter into the sulcus, respecting these wound positions. So you have the entry wound and the needle entry points are 90 degrees away. And when you go in from the 2 millimeter side, you go gradually at an angle of 20 degrees as you go in with a 5 to 10 degree inclination or declination inside. Nowadays, there's the goiter, no financial interest. They have made this simple by making a needle marker where all are set in. So the 2 millimeter mark, and there's a groove to keep, send the needle in. Everything is repeatable. And once you place it properly at the limbus, centered, you can just pass a needle through the groove that has been prepared, and we will end up with a very symmetrical result. Now, what we do in Sri Lanka, we don't have those. So here is a patient where the traumatic cataract, traumatic cut cornea sutured and sent to me by a colleague. So I usually use 27 gauge needle. It's a long needle. I bend it so that will be more manipulation is much easier. I usually pre-place the needles. My idea with my is to have the least amount of AC disturbance. So I will go with a 2 millimeter tunnel and then sink in and then retract it and keep it there. And do the same thing on the other side as well. So you gauge where the needle went. I usually don't mark because it's not always, you don't end up where you mark. So there's no point marking usually. And then you do the same thing. And deliver the needle and retract a little bit to prevent hemorrhage and keep it there. So when we do the surgery, we have to be careful that the needles will not bubble here and there. So there's another additional thing that will keep your movements in check, that you will not do too many acrobatics inside. So now the needles are in place. Then I will introduce the lens, and I usually use cohesive viscoelastic in favor of AC maintainer. Then same here, I think all these techniques will have the leading haptic delivered onto the iris. Then keep the trailing haptic outside, and then feed the leading haptic onto the needle. There are some who will keep the lens in the cartridge and deliver, and then use the assistant and then deliver the leading haptics at the same time without delivering the whole thing into the antechamber also. So usually relatively this is not difficult, but it's very easy if we fill the needle with BSS. And very rarely I have seen that all these needles are not of the same quality. You might have to trim the edge like so that it will go very easily inside. And then you rotate it a little bit and then introduce the trailing haptic inside now. This is the most difficult part of the lens. That's the procedure or the most challenging part. The lot of kinking, bending, and breaking can occur. So be very gentle with this. And again, the Alcon 3 piece, I find very flexible. It's very easy. But AR40 is not so flexible, but it's very long. So the haptics are long, so you have some room for manipulation there. So both has their advantages and disadvantages. See, it gently goes in. Another thing that you can do is to, for the leading haptic, you can use a 27 gauge needle, and for the trailing haptic, a 26 needle, because it works quite fine. Then the classical Yamane technique, you can retrieve the needles simultaneously at the same time. And what I find is that once you take it out, tease out, you can use a suture tiny to hold the end of the haptic, and then cauterize and create the flange. Yeah. Once that's been done, we can retrieve the other side as well and follow the same thing and create a flange. So once you made one side, usually it does not slip usually, but flange is important for something else to maintain the refractive stability. So it's almost done. Then I might have to do a little bit of vitrectomy and clear the viscoelastic that I have put for the procedure. In these surgeries, sometimes crocodile shackling could be quite a problem, and even arcus senilis, because the visualization becomes quite an issue there. You might have to use a lot of viscoelastic on top of the cornea to maintain the clarity. Undilated pupils are not a big issue. The other way of retrieve the haptic would be the sequential delivery, not the simultaneous. You take one, as mine showed. That's also quite safe, I should say. You then make the flange, and when you make put the trailing haptic, you might have to get the haptic a little bit out, so it will create more room for the manipulation. And here, this is our flange. We don't have cautery, so this is what we, with the Bunsen burner, we heat and do this. Now, the new advances would be in Yamane technique would be to get a perfect target emmetropia. So, if you have a on-time way of checking the refraction, what you can do is to adjust it and cut the haptics on both sides. So, what happens is when we rotate the haptics in, it will become more myopic. As you read outside, be hypermetropic. So you can come to in-between situation where you get a perfect this thing, refraction, and then cut and suture. So we all learn this by doing trial and error. It's a good thing to practice and find what works you for best. Thank you. Thank you, India, again for incorporating us in your wonderful sessions.